So in the spirit of labor, I want to discuss how to effectively measure a cook's quality of skill and how to properly schedule cooks on your schedule. Just like with servers, cooks are measured and should be measured in the dollars that they can handle in volume. Each individual cook can handle a different volume. The standard average that one should be able to achieve is $150. If your cook cannot cook a $150 hour either by themselves or with somebody else, so two cooks of standard equal volume or capability should be able to handle 300. So two cooks that can't handle 300, one of them did okay, but the other one slacked. The one that's slacking is not at 150. And if they're not at 150, they're not quality and they're not where they need to be. And you need to honestly ask yourselves, should you continue to work them, meaning they're new and they need training, or do you need to let them go? Because people can do 150 simply. It is not unquestionable. It is not insane. It's not the fastest cook I've ever seen. It is the standard average. So with that being said, the way we get these numbers is you look at your daily sales, your hourly daily sales. When you pull up the computer and you pull up your daily sales, it should break down each hour into numbers. If the hour for that, or the number for that hour is 150, then you would only run one cook. Many of you, even on your slowest day, a lunch shift would be 180 to 220, 250 on a slow day. So we know that we're not going to put one cook on the line during either lunch or dinner, only in mid shifts. However, if you typically run from 11 till 12 with a $75 hour, with a $110 hour, with a $130 hour, then you should only have one cook during that period. If from 1 o'clock until 2 o'clock, it is a $100 hour, then you should have one cook. The only exception is that there may be work, that prep and cleaning that needs to get done before that person leaves, but you would not send, so you wouldn't send them at 1 is what I'm saying, but you wouldn't keep them all the way until 2 because they've had 30 to 45 minutes where that hour, because you probably had 15 minutes of $150 hour. You had 15 minutes of it, which means the first 15 minutes would have been $40 or $50 in that hour, but then it progressively gets slower. We know how these trends happen, and I'm talking about the slower days because that is where we suffer in labor because we run too many people. Now, when we increase the volume of that cook and their ability to handle it, we start to sacrifice ticket times. We start to sacrifice their ability to run food. You see, a cook should be able to run food out at $150 hour. They should be able to maintain 3-minute average at $150 hour. Clean as you go. The line should always be close ready. Close ready and rush ready are often used interchangeably, but they have specific different meanings. Close ready means quite literally you could shut everything down and walk out the door at that moment because everything is clean, it stayed clean, it's always prepped and loaded. You also want to be in that position before a rush. Before a rush, you want to make sure that everything is maximized and ready and you're battle ready, but you always want to have your store. You should not only sweep under your cooler once a day. That's what I'm saying. You're always clothes ready. Washing hands. Cooks wash their hands less frequently the busier they get. That's something we don't want. And it increases the likelihood of somebody getting sick. Presentation of the food. The busier they get, the sloppier their food gets. And then the temperature of their food, their ability to get it out fast is limited, so the temperature messes up. Now, just as important is this other side. This other side is incredibly important, and I see it a lot. You see, when we are underworked, when we have not too little to do, all of these same things suffer. Why would ticket times be higher when we're slow? They're higher because you're not on the cook line, you're walking around somewhere else. You're casually doing some other activity that means when the ticket comes up, you're not there. That's one thing. The next thing, when you have 4 or 5 tickets, I've seen you, when you get 5 tickets on the line, do you get a sense of urgency, like this push, like, wow, I'm behind, I really got to push. And I see people spinning and popping and jumping and skipping and they get the job done. But what if there's only one ticket? Do you treat that one ticket the same way you would have treated your 4 or 5 tickets? The answer is no. You think so. And maybe some of you out there, but not you. You are dropping your quality. You're dropping your ticket times. You're not running food because as soon as it's done, you're slow. You feel slow and you create slow. That is unacceptable. Now we're talking about a $150 hour, but the same thing happens if you're running 2 cooks in a $150 hour. 2 cooks underworked will do less. They will be slower. We have to find the happy medium of where we run our people to ensure that all of the work is being done. To fill in the gaps, it is the job of the manager and the leadership to hold them accountable, to hold and maintain the standard of operation. Treat every ticket like it's busy, be on the cook line. Don't pan meat slower because it's slow outside. Just because there's no customers in the lobby doesn't mean I pan meat as slow as you do. I'm gonna be fast at everything I do when I do it. Not because because I want more stuff to do. You see, when you look around and you see a couple dirty things and you think, or your clothes takes a long time, all of those things could have been remedied if every single thing that you did was faster. That gives you more time to do more things, and the things that you do can be done better as a sense of urgency. Now, this is very important to understand because some of you guys are overstaffing cooks. Please understand the way the numbers work. Look at your expected daily sales. You can look back at last year's hourly sales, although you don't have to. The only time you need to do that is we're getting ready to go into a season where it's not going to be as busy as it was, or likewise like a holiday or something like that. Look at the hours, because sometimes the holiday may be like the 4th of July is not busy at 8 and 7 o'clock at night. It's busy at 5 and 6, and it's busy all through lunch. You need to know that. But most days are exactly like the day before in the week. So on a Wednesday last week is very similar to Wednesday this week. If your standard is $220 for lunch, $250, $280, you're pushing that 3 mark, and you only need 2 cooks. If you're training a cook, you can add them in, but please understand the need for an additional cook is not necessary. And if it is, we have a training issue, and it needs to be the highest priority to fix. Because running an extra person during every shift is making everybody feel slower because of this same problem. You put me on a line with 3 other cooks on a day where we're doing a $250 or a $300 hour, I'm slow. I can't help it, there's nothing to do. So I will physically move slow and work slower, and that is not what we want, because you can't tell yourself, I need to work fast, because then there's not enough to do. You need to find your happy mediums. You gotta find the spot in the middle that's gonna create that energy. A $450 hour, which many of you do not have, is the peak for 3. So you need to honestly look at your schedule and determine when you would ever need a 4th cook, okay? Because $450 is a 3rd cook. A 3rd cook can get you from $300 to $450. If you are running 4 cooks on a Friday lunch and you anticipate a $350, you have overstaffed. If you are cooking a night that you expect a $450, you can have 4 cooks, but only for the hours that are $450. So you only want to overlap 4 cooks for about 2 hours. You should never have 3 cooks at 5, the 4th one comes in at 6, and then the 4th one leaves at 7 or 8. Actually, you would. Okay. No. Now, there is one more thing. Not everybody is $150. Now, if they're under 150, we know we're not where they need to be. But your goal should really be to push to a higher level. Here's what I mean by that. I know that I can handle $200 to $250. I really can handle $250 by myself. And I know that in my past, I have been over $350. I have personally cooked $350 hours with ticket times faster than many of you have in your stores. I would run food. Okay, I didn't really run food out at $350. I'm a clean as you go guy. I keep the place clean, spotless, and stocked no matter how busy I am. I wash my hands frequently. We didn't have gloves back then. And that was $350. And the reason I'm saying that is you don't have to stop at $150. And depending on who your cooks are, if you're able to stack a, let's say, $125 guy with a $200 guy, then you're able to handle a $325 hour. So now you've exceeded with a not as good cook and with an extra good cook. So I know that if you don't know if you're going to do a $380 or a $5, you need to make sure that your $200 guys are there, right? You also can use that monetary distance to say, well, who am I going to send home when? Don't send. Continue to look at what your hours are going to be throughout a night, throughout a shift, throughout a day, and know that don't bring in a $75 cook at 11 and bring in the manager at 12 who can do 200, because if that $75 guy hits 120, you fail at your service, you fail at your quality, and you're already behind. Then the $200 cook comes in, maybe that's you, the manager, and now you're able to handle lunch. So you adequately scheduled people, you just scheduled them in the wrong order. You have to think about what the hour could be, and I really want everybody to honestly look at the staff that you have right now in your store and give them a dollar number. Realistic. This is not, I think they suck, I think they're good. How much volume can they handle? And are they handling, just like with servers, are we even doing everything when we have the right number of hours? When you are a cook who can handle 150 and you are doing a 150 on the dot, is every single one of these things done? Are you in the 3-minute ticket times? Are you trying to be in the 3? When you drop to $100 hour, are you capable of doing the 3-minute ticket times? How many of you guys are sitting there knocking out $75 hours with 5 and 6 minute tickets? You're not stocking in the middle of the day at a $60 hour. I've seen $20 hours with 5 and 6 minute tickets. I've seen $20 hours where no stocking gets done. This is important to understand. Are we doing it? Who's holding us accountable for doing it? And what can we do? What should we be able to do at least? And how do we build a schedule off of that? Okay? By the way, $150 by yourself means you're capable of all stations on the cook line. If you cannot handle all stations, you should be trained to do so. No cook should be stuck. Now, you can work one station all the time. That's not a bad thing. However, if you cannot work another station, you have not learned, you are not trained, then you, in my book, are not a cook. A fry guy is not a cook. A guy who only does grill is not a cook. You should be able to do $150 by yourself, which means you can handle all stations. If you cannot handle a bun station for a $150 hour when somebody else is doing another job, then you shouldn't be considered a cook. You need to continue your training to grow your skills before you're asking for raises or classifying yourself as part of the team. And that is 100% possible, but I don't think that accountability is there. Leadership, I don't think we're holding people accountable to make sure they're getting that done. We're allowing too many things to slip by, and we're allowing too many people to not reach their potential, and then it's dragging everybody down. Your labor is through the roof because your staff isn't being held accountable. You're not telling them what to do or how to do it or how quickly to do it. If I go in your store and I pan meat faster than you, you need to question yourself. If I go into your store and I can cook onions and peppers faster than you, question yourself. If I go into the store and I'm sweeping your floor, question yourself. I should be struggling to find things to do. And right now, I struggle not to do things. I'm struggling having to it's just a lot. Use these numbers. That's important. Ask me some questions. Play around with it. What I want for you is another tool, another resource that can help you get the labor that you want to see done. Okay? Let me know if this helps.